Hi everyone and welcome to Civilization 6. So, thanks to 2K and Eurekas, I can show you an extensive early build of Civilization 6. As you might or might not know, this is not the first time I get to play Civilization 6, but it's the first time I get to play on my own PC, in a comfortable environment with no time limitations and no turn limitations, because this build has the entire game. There's no turn limit. So that's amazing, I'm really looking forward to that. Are you excited? I know I am. So, let's jump into the game, shall we? I will show you what exactly is available. Also, before we go into the actual game setup, you can change key bindings, which is something I quite like. And there's one or two features in the game options that I really enjoy, and I'll show you the first one as soon as we enter the game. So, create game. Now, there are some limited options in here because this is an early build. There's only one difficulty level, which is Prince in this case. There are two game speeds to choose from, there's Quick and there's Standard. I'm going to play on Standard. There are 3 different maps you can choose from, Continents, Island Plates and Pangea. I think we'll go with Continents, to maybe check out some naval warfare, but I don't really want to go with Islands. I might go with Islands for another game, because I plan to do more than one of these. And then we got 3 different map sizes, Tiny, Standard and Large. The large map has 10 players, so I think I'll go with Large simply because there are 10 leaders to choose from. So with a large map, we will have all 10 leaders in the game. So the leaders available are Frederick Barbarossa of Germany, Harald of Norway, we got Japan, we got Congo, we got Greece, we got Spain, we got America, we got Scythia, we got Rome, and we got England. And I already decided I'm going to play Greece for the first game. So Greece is a pretty damn strong civ, especially early on. They receive 1 extra wildcard policy slot in any government. And despite what the wording of this might suggest, you get that wildcard policy right from the start of the game. You do not have to adopt a government. You get it right from turn 0. So that's really damn good in the early game. Other than that, he also has plus 5% culture per city-state you are the suzerain of, so that's pretty damn good if you manage to get allied with a lot of city-states. Or even a few city-states, 2 city-states are already worth plus 10% culture, and that's already pretty good. And his unique unit is the Hoplite, which is ancient era unit that replaces the Spearman and has plus 10 combat strength if there is at least 1 adjacent Hoplite unit. It's a pretty decent one. And then he also has the Acropolis, which is a district unique to Greece for cultural sites. It replaces the Theatre Square district. So let's jump straight into the game, shall we? I'm really looking forward to this. There's no advanced setup right now, so I can't show you what that includes because it's not in the build.
From the first stirrings of life beneath water, to the great beasts of the Stone Age, to man taking his first upright steps, you have come far. Now begins your greatest quest, from this early cradle of civilization on towards the stars. Your mastery of the spoken word is a gift of great value, silver-tongued Pericles, leader of the Greeks. Through it, you can attract the devotion of a league of states, surrounding yourself with their glory. Establish cultural sites along the rocky shores of Greece to unite your people behind your strong governance. If all goes well, the sirens will sing of the age of Pericles.
I love the Sean Bean narration, so I'm going to leave that all in, because it's amazing. So here we are, and here's our starting location. Now, let's maybe move our warrior first. Where do we want to move him? If we move him in this direction, we won't really reveal anything, because there are hills blocking the way, so we'll move this way. Okay, I think we'll settle on spot, because we have a river, and settling cities next to a river is actually really damn important, because of housing. If you settle a city next to a river, you will get 5 housing. If you settle a city just in the middle of nowhere with no river and no access to fresh water, you will only have 2 maximum housing at the start. So that's a really big difference. And when you are at -1 population, as in, if you are 1 population under your housing limit, so let's say your housing limit is 5, and you are at 4 population, you get 50% penalty to growth already. So if you start a city not next to fresh water, you will already have a penalty to growth, before it even grows to population 2. So starting a city next to a river, or at least on a coast, because a coastal city gets free housing, is really damn important. I can actually show you the Civilopedia entry for housing. There it is. Housing basically dictates the maximum population. It's easier later in the game because you get neighborhood districts, but early on it's actually pretty important. There are other things you can do to increase housing, which is build farms, pastures, plantations, or camps, and they will add a little bit of population. I can show you fresh water as well. I don't think that's an entry actually. Rivers. There it is. So, let's start the city then. We will settle on spot. And I can immediately show you that we have 6 housing right now. So that is quite a lot. We have 5 housing from water and 1 housing from buildings. Mostly from the palace, I believe. So, what are we going to start from now? In Civ 5, you pretty much always started with a scout, and then something like a monument, maybe a shrine, and a worker soon after. A lot of people had very specific early game builds that they always followed. It's not quite as obvious in Civ 6. I would still always start with a scout, because exploring is that much more important, in fact, because of Eureka bonuses, but it's not quite as obvious what to go for after the scout. It depends on a few things, and we'll discuss them as we go. Now, research. In Civ 5, you pretty much always started with pottery, or almost always. You don't really have to do that here, especially if you get a capital city on a river, and you'll have 6 maximum housing. The main reason to build a granary is for the +2 housing. But if you have 6 housing limit in your capital, you don't really need to rush the granary that much. Now, if my capital city was in the middle of nowhere with no fresh water, I would probably consider an early granary. But as it stands, you can afford to delay it a little bit. And it might make more sense to go for animal husbandry or mining, depending on which resources you have. We don't actually have that many resources. We have bananas, which require irrigation, but we also have wheat, and we got a luxury that also requires irrigation. And we have sheep, which requires animal husbandry. Alright, so I guess we'll go for animal husbandry, because that unlocks the camp and the pasture. Sounds good to me. So, as you might or might not know, one of the biggest changes in Civilization 6 as far as technological progress goes are the Eureka boosts. Every tech has a certain thing you can do to get a boost in that tech, and that boost is really significant. And it does actually take a fair amount of planning for these boosts. These are things that are fairly simple to get. So, for example, kill a unit with a slinger, build a quarry, kill 3 barbarians, or improve to sea resources. These are fairly simple things. They are not meant to be hard. But the tricky part is actually getting them in time for when you'll want to research that tech. You can get it while you are researching a tech, and it will boost it, or it will reduce the cost while you are doing it. But if you end up delaying a tech just for the sake of getting a Eureka boost for it, it might sometimes make sense if it's a low priority tech that you can afford to delay. But if it's a high priority technology that you need ASAP, it doesn't make any sense to delay it just to get a boost, because then you'll end up getting it later than you normally would, researching it without a boost. So planning for these boosts in advance is actually fairly important, and there are a few important choices early on. As you probably noticed, the archery boost requires you to kill a unit with a slinger, and this is a very, very early tech. You will not get this boost if you don't recruit a slinger very, very early. So that goes back to what I said about build order. It's not quite as obvious whether to go for monument after the scout, for a slinger, or for a builder. All 3 of these choices can be quite valid because of the Eureka boosts. It kind of depends on the exact start you have. We definitely need a scout, however, because one of the boosts is meeting another civilization, and then yet another one on the Civic tree is discovering a second continent. So these are things our scout can do quite easily. But on the other hand, we got craftsmanship, where the boost is to improve 3 tiles. And if we don't get a very early builder, we will simply not get that. On the other hand, if we don't get a very early slinger, we will also not get that. So, where's the space to build a monument in all that? That's the question you have to answer yourself. And we got an inspiration boost from discovering another continent. It's also worth noting that you can get inspiration boosts and Eureka boosts from goodie huts. And there are quite a lot on the map, there's one to the west right now. But this particular boost was for discovering another continent. In this case, we got a boost to foreign trade. Foreign trade is right here on the Civic tree. And also, as a side note, one of the features I really enjoy, which you might have noticed, is quick movement. Quick movement is actually quick and not instant. And I really like that. And also we got our first barbarian. Now, one thing I will say is that barbarians are way more aggressive in Civ 6 than in Civ 5. I played the preview build quite a bit already, just to familiarize myself with various things and play around with early game strategies. And the barbarians actually sometimes surprised me with how aggressive they were. I even got barbarian raids with like 4 barbarian units attacking one city, which wasn't really a big deal. They weren't able to threaten an actual city, but they can mess around your city a little bit. They can actually pillage your improvements, and then you have to expend a charge from a builder to repair them. And we found a wonder.
Granite peaks resembling tiger's teeth dramatically soar about a kilometer into the sky.
So that's a 2-tile impassable world wonder or natural wonder, and it doubles the terrain yields of all adjacent tiles. Because one thing about natural wonders in Civ 6 is that a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them have a specific effect on adjacent tiles. So they might give you food on adjacent tiles, they might give you culture on adjacent tiles. This one doubles the yields. So that's a pretty damn good one. And it's a 2-tile wonder. There are quite a few wonders that take more than 1 tile. I think this means we already know where our second city is going to be. We want to secure that wonder ASAP before someone else steals it. We could actually have 2 cities that would benefit from it. On this side and on this side. And we found our first city-state. Now, you might have noticed immediately that we have a quest to train an archer. And doing these quests is really important early on, because you'll get envoys for each quest, and then you will unlock bonuses. And a lot of these city-state bonuses are actually really damn strong. The competition for city-states in Civ 6 is going to be much harder, probably. Everyone will want a lot of these city-states. Some of their bonuses are quite significant, let's just say. This down here is the bonus when you are allied with the city-state, or when you are the city-state suzerain. So that requires you to have the most envoys out of any civ in the game, with this specific city-state. And we can see that it's influenced by one unmet player, who has 1 envoy. The first bonus is +2 production in the capital when producing units. So we can get that with just 1 guy. And we will get that 1 guy once we finish this quest, to train an archer. So that's something to keep in mind. And that's yet another layer of decisions that you have to make. Do you want to get these city-state quests? Do you want to get Eureka boosts? Do you want to get inspiration boosts on the Civic tree? Do you want to do your own thing that will be more optimal for your strategy? There are a lot of these decisions that you have to make pretty much constantly. There are way more decisions to make in the early game in Civ 6. When I first played Civ 6, that's the thing that surprised me the most. Anyway, so now we got the scout, and we have to decide what to recruit next. We can either go for a slinger, and it's definitely a good idea to get some units early on, because the barbarians can be way more aggressive. Not to mention, quite a few bosses involve fighting barbarians. So for example, we have a kill unit with a slinger. We also have kill 3 barbarians. There is one to destroy a barbarian camp somewhere around here. I think that might have been on the Civic tree. Right here, clear a barbarian camp. And there are quite a lot of other Eureka bosses that involve killing a unit with a specific unit. And you can kill a barbarian, and that counts. So that's one thing to consider. I do like a monument, because that will speed up our Civic tree progress. And as a general rule, at the start of the game, your number one priority on the Civic tree is to get to political philosophy, because this unlocks the governments, and the governments will give you quite a significant boost. So that should be a priority early on, and these are all the civics that are required for it. Now, we already discovered the second continent, or well, we got that boost from a goodie hut, so we will research foreign trade. This will unlock the trader, and another thing you might not know if you've not been following Civ 6 is that traders are what makes roads in Civ 6. There is a unit later on, which is the military engineer. He's all the way over here somewhere. No, he's on the tech tree. There he is. He can construct roads. And the Roman unique unit can also construct roads. But early on, the trader is the only way to actually build roads, which will influence your decisions about what exactly to do with traders. So, back to our production, we need to choose something. I don't think it's going to be the monument. Either the builder or a slinger, depending on which Eureka boost we want to secure first. So either the improve 3 tiles and give our city a bit of a boost, and it could actually use a boost if we check citizen management. Right now it's fine, but it will rapidly run out of decent tiles to work. We might want to buy some of these tiles with wheat. On the other hand, the builder will only give us 1 Eureka boost, while a few units might give us more than 1. I wonder if we'll be able to kill that barbarian if the city-state attacks it, but fails to kill him. That's a possibility. So let's grab a slinger, because that will only take 6 turns. And we definitely want units. Yeah, the barbarians killed... the city-state killed the barbarians.
Felipe, rey de España y Portugal. Empero, por encima de todo, somos fieles devotos de la única y verdadera religión.
So, our first neighbor, Spain. So, when you first meet a neighbor or another civ, you have a choice whether to exchange your capital city locations or not. Sometimes it might be a good idea to keep your capital city location hidden. But I think I'm okay exchanging the locations. If this was Scythia or something similar, I would maybe consider saying no, but he doesn't seem to be that close to us. I think it's fine to exchange locations. But we need to hurry up with this city, otherwise Spain might settle it. And we wouldn't want that to happen, would we? And there's another goodie hut, very nice. We'll see what we can get from that. Also, once you meet... Hold that thought.
Dogs look up to us. Cats look down on us. Pigs treat us as equals.
So as I said, I'm going to leave all the Sean Bean narration in, because it's amazing. Anyway, as I was saying, once you meet your first civ, there are a few things you can do to influence your early relations. You can send a delegation, which costs 25 gold and improves your relations slightly. You can actually see your relation breakdown down here, and what you can do to raise or lower it. Right now, there's nothing that influences our relations. So we'll send a delegation. He can accept or decline. If he declines, we won't get anything out of it. And now we can see that we got +3 because we sent them a delegation. And also, we can get open borders, but not yet. Open borders also gives you a small diplomatic boost. His agenda is a counter-reformer. He likes civilizations who follow the same religion and wants his cities to all follow the same religion. And he hates anyone trying to spread the religion into his empire. And every civ also has a hidden agenda, but we don't know what that is. We will know that in the future, but not yet. So let's keep exploring then. Maybe we'll find something interesting. We got another city-state. Construct an encampment. That's one of the early districts, a military district. That will most likely have to wait a bit. As for our research, we could grab archery to finish that quest for a city-state. We could also get astrology because we found a natural wonder, so we got a boost for that. This will unlock the holy site, the Stonehenge and the shrine. We could try to get a religion, It will definitely upset our neighbor, but since we found a natural wonder, which is probably the most random early Eureka, it's not that hard to find a natural wonder if you do a good job scouting, but you can get unlucky and not find one early enough. We found one very early, so we might try to get a religion. This will involve building an early holy site, because here you do not get a great profit just for accumulating faith. You have to actually generate great profit points through a holy site, for example, or through a shrine. If you don't do that, you will literally never get a great profit, because he won't just spawn on his own, out of thin air, just from faith. That's not going to happen. So I don't want to go too far away with my warrior, because we might actually need him against barbarians. Just a slinger will likely not be enough, because slingers are very, very squishy. Ranged units in general are quite squishy, so we don't want to go too far. And we found another goodie hat, nice. Oh, also, I didn't pick up this one. Should have done that. We'll do it with our slinger, so that's fine. And we completed Code of Laws. So this unlocks our first few policies. And every time you finish a civic research, you can change your policies for free. It costs gold otherwise. You can change them anytime, but it will cost you gold if you do so. So here's our unique ability as Greece, wildcard policy slot. It's so strong. It's really damn good at the start of the game. It's good for most of the game, but it gives you a much greater flexibility. So now, since normally we would have to choose between urban planning, which is +1 production in all cities, and God King, which is +1 faith and +1 gold in the capital, because we are playing Greece, we can choose both. Or we could pick both militaristic policies. We'll go with +5 unit combat strength when fighting barbarians. Although double experience for recon units can be quite nice, but I assume we will run into more barbarians. And we got an inspiration because we made contact with 3 city-states. That's the political philosophy inspiration. It's a pretty easy one, but it's one you definitely want to get because that's the civic that unlocks governments. And we got a quest to trigger Eureka for sailing. We will not be doing that one because that involves founding a city on a coast. And we are nowhere close to a coast, so that is not going to happen. Let's grab the goodie hat, we got 40 gold. We could always start a city somewhere over here, but I'd rather secure the natural wonder first. So, what do we want next? Probably a builder. And we can get 3 improvements. Can we actually get that in time? We could maybe get that in time. We should be able to. We could also get a monument first. But I'd rather get a builder first right now, because that will also help our city. It's not just for the inspiration, obviously. It's also to improve our actual city, clearly. Alright, let's keep exploring then. We need to find more AIs. And we finished astrology. So districts can be quite expensive, and every time you build a district, the cost of the next district will increase. Not by much, but it will increase. Same goes for the settlers. The more settlers you build, the more the individual settler cost will increase. If nothing changed compared to the previous build I played, then the 4th settler costed twice as many hammers as the first one. We got Geneva, construct a holy site. That is convenient because I might do that. Okay then, so we'll finish that builder and then maybe get a settler to secure that natural wonder. We will grab mining. It might be a good idea to get a mine early on to improve production a bit. And we got... oh, nice! We got a Eureka for sailing. Didn't we have a quest for that? Yes, we did! So now we have 2 envoys in Toronto and 1 in Geneva. Which means we are getting +2 science in our capital and +2 production when producing wonders, building and districts. And we only need 1 more to get +2 production in every industrial zone. We won't be getting industrial zones until a little bit later, but it's nice to be close to that one. No more barbarian camps in the area, I'm actually kind of surprised. I usually had way more barbarians. Well, here's a barbarian. Good to know. The builder is almost done. I think we should buy that wheat tile by now, because we can certainly afford it. It's only 50 gold. And I might actually lock some of the tiles manually, because you can do it. Like so. And then the city will just keep them locked. Okay then. So let's check if there's anything interesting to the north. Maybe a good spot for a city.
Who deserves more credit than the wife of a coal miner?
Next up, what are we going to get? We should probably get pottery and writing now. Writing will unlock the campus, that's another district. Sailing can wait, we don't really need sailing all that much. Which quests do we have right now? Construct an encampment, a holy site, and train an archer, right. We do have that archer quest. But I think archery will have to wait. Let's see if we can kill a unit with a slinger. I'm hoping there will be some barbarians to the north, perhaps. I don't want to go all the way southeast, because that's a little bit too far away. And now Spain also sent us a delegation. We will accept. And let's go find some barbarians, shall we? Copper is a bonus resource, by the way, it's not a luxury. Here's the worker. We should probably improve the ship first. That sounds like a good idea. And let's keep exploring. We found
by the grace of
England.
God, Victoria, Queen of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. And soon, dare I say, the Empire.
I don't think so. Not if I have anything to say about it. I guess we can accept. Capital location exchange. She is all the way over here. No, that's Madrid. Where is she? Oh, did she not accept? Alright. She didn't want to do that. That's fine. Now, what do we want next? I would like a monument. Because that would literally double our culture. I don't want to delay that natural wonder city too much. But let's get the monument. I don't want to fall behind in culture too much. And we do need governments ASAP. Let's go find some barbarians. I hope there will be some. Because I would like that Eureka boost for killing a unit with a slinger. And we need it pretty soon, actually. Okay, there are some barbarians. Now, let's be careful over here. We could probably kill the spearmen. But we need to wait. Now, as you might or might not know, I've not talked about it yet, but let's talk about movement rules. So in Civilization 6, if you don't have enough movement points to enter a tile, you cannot enter it. So right now my slinger only has 1 point left, so he cannot enter the forest. This is actually pretty important for war, because if you are attacking someone and there's a lot of rough terrain behind you, that will make your retreat much harder. And another thing worth keeping in mind is that you also can't attack into a tile if you don't have enough movement points. At least not with a melee unit. You can do it with ranged. But because a melee unit would move into that tile if he killed the unit, you cannot attack into it if you don't have enough movement points. So this makes defensive positions on top of rough terrain that much better. Anyway, let's grab a pasture. And I think this is a good moment to finish the first episode. I'm going to continue in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please let me know in the comments below and consider leaving a like. And I'll see you next time.